You think that old rifle could actually take down an aircraft? The small woman quietly loaded a single round into the chamber, not responding to the mockery. A distant crack echoed through the valley. Then the radar in the control center began flashing. Aircraft down confirmed by ground fire. Someone whispered, "Impossible. Who is she?" Her name was Freya Holm, 31 years old, European, petite frame, long blonde hair braided neatly, wearing thin glasses, a logistics support technician. She had once been a marksman, but after an accident during an old campaign, she withdrew from the sniper unit and transferred to the rear lines. No one knew much about her past. They only saw her as quiet, often cleaning old rifles in the storage warehouse. One afternoon, alarm bells rang throughout the base. Radar detected low-flying attack drones approaching the perimeter. All anti-aircraft weapons were stored in Warehouse B, 1 kilometer away. The base was virtually defenseless. Freya grabbed an old Dragunov rifle from the training warehouse. The supply officer mocked her. "Best to run and hide. Don't get stuck with that toy." But Freya had already checked the rifle's mechanism. Her fingers moved with practiced precision along the bolt action, adjusting the scope with muscle memory that seemed too natural for a mere logistics officer. The afternoon sun cast long shadows across the compound. Radio chatter filled the air with panic as personnel scrambled to reach the distant weapon storage. "All units, this is command. Estimated time to target, 3 minutes. Anti-air systems offline. Repeat, we have no active defense." Freya found herself alone on the northern rooftop, the only position with clear sight lines toward the approach vector. The old rifle felt familiar in her hands, despite months of deliberate distance from such weapons. Through the scope, she could see dust clouds rising from the valley floor. The drones were flying low, using terrain masking to avoid detection until the final approach. Her breathing slowed. The world narrowed to the crosshairs, the wind direction, the mathematical certainty of trajectory and timing. A veteran soldier nearby noticed her stance and froze. "That positioning, I've seen that before. Black Falcon Squad used to." But there was no time for questions. CTA comment. Act 1. Have you ever seen someone get dismissed when trying to help? Type, too familiar. Freya climbed to the northern rooftop, the only position with clear sight lines toward the approach vector. Below her lay scattered debris, the old rifle, and the single round she trusted. She removed her gloves, touched the safety mechanism, with a motion so professional that an old soldier nearby stopped and stared. "That technique, I've seen that in the Black Falcon Squad." No one could reach the weapons in time. The enemy aircraft had already descended to attack altitude, preparing to sweep the valley. A coordinator shouted, "Don't fire randomly! You'll expose our position!" But Freya was already taking aim. Her shooting stance was nothing like a beginner's. Steady hands, unblinking eyes, following only the rhythm of the wind. Through the scope, she tracked the lead drone. Its flight pattern was predictable, following the valley's natural corridor. But something else caught her attention. A second drone, higher and offset. Likely the command unit. The mathematics of the shot played out in her mind. Wind speed, target velocity, bullet drop over distance. Variables that would challenge even experienced marksmen. Radio chatter continued to crackle with desperation. "Ground units, fall back to hardened positions. Air support is 30 minutes out." 30 minutes too late. Freya's finger found the trigger. Not the hasty pull of panic, but the controlled squeeze she had practiced thousands of times. The rifle bucked against her shoulder with familiar recoil. The shot rang out across the valley. For a moment, everything was silent except for the distant hum of approaching engines. Then the radio exploded with confused voices. "What was that? Who's shooting?" "Command, we have an unauthorized discharge from the northern sector. Belay that. All units maintain radio silence." But Freya was already working the bolt, ejecting the spent casing. She watched it fall to the rooftop with a metallic ping that seemed impossibly loud. Through the scope, she observed the lead drone's flight path. No deviation, no sign of impact. Had she missed? The doubt lasted only seconds before her trained eye caught something else. A thin trail of smoke from the higher drone, the command unit. It was banking hard right, losing altitude. She had chosen the priority target instinctively. Take out the command drone, and the attack formation would lose coordination. The veteran soldier who had noticed her stance earlier was now staring openly. Only Black Falcon operatives aim for command units first. That's advanced tactical thinking. Freya didn't acknowledge him. She was already tracking the remaining drones, calculating whether they would abort or continue their attack run without guidance. The answer came quickly. The remaining aircraft began circling erratically, their formation broken. CTA Comment Act 2. If you've ever done the right thing despite being stopped, type, still had to do it. The radar immediately began pulsing. Aircraft down. Confirmed by ground fire. No one believed it. Command reopened the display and discovered a fire trail streaking upward from ground level. An extremely rare angle unguided ammunition hitting a moving target. Freya descended quietly, calmly placing the old Dragunov back in its wooden case. A captain approached and asked, "Who taught you to shoot like that?" She didn't answer, only removed her glasses to clean a smudge on her right cheek. There, revealed for the first time, was a small tattoo, an eagle grasping the number 8. An old officer in the command post gasped. Black Falcon, the high-altitude rescue sniper unit from years ago. They thought she died in the accident. The command center had gone silent. Personnel stared at computer screens displaying telemetry data they couldn't quite believe. "Confirm that reading, Sergeant." "Sir, trajectory analysis shows a single projectile fired from the northern sector. Impact with target Alpha at 2,400 meters. Clean hit to the command module." "What's the probability of that shot?" "Sir, with that weapon, at that distance, against a moving target, less than 5%, even for our best marksman." The captain who had questioned Freya found himself studying her with new eyes. The quiet technician who repaired equipment and filed reports had just accomplished something that would challenge their elite snipers. "The accident you mentioned," he said carefully. "What really happened?" Freya's expression didn't change. She picked up the spent brass casing from the rooftop and examined it. Black Falcon Squad was assigned to extract a downed pilot from hostile territory. High-altitude insertion, single-shot rescue window. I was the Overwatch sniper. She paused, turning the casing over in her palm. The helicopter took fire during extraction. Pilot error, mechanical failure, doesn't matter. What mattered was that my shot had to be perfect to clear the landing zone. And it was perfect, clean elimination of the threat. But the rotor wash from the helicopter shifted during the shot, changed the trajectory by 2 degrees. The captain waited. My bullet eliminated the intended target, but the deflection sent a fragment into the helicopter's fuel line. The extraction team made it out, but the aircraft didn't. Casualties? 3 crew members, all because I didn't account for rotor wash affecting bullet trajectory. The weight of that revelation settled over the group. A sniper who had withdrawn from active duty not because of failure, but because of success that had cost lives. So you transferred to logistics. I transferred to where I couldn't hurt anyone else with my precision. But the radar data didn't lie. The command drone had been eliminated with a single shot that defied probability. Freya didn't deny her past. She simply said, "I don't need anyone to remember. I just need to hit the target when it matters." The old officer approached respectfully. "Ma'am, with respect, that shot today, it saved lives. The drones were carrying incendiary payloads. If they had reached the civilian sector, I know. Then why stay hidden? Why not return to active duty?" Freya replaced her glasses and looked toward the valley where smoke still rose from the crashed drone. "Because the day I stop questioning every shot is the day I become dangerous to everyone around me." CTA Comment Act 3. If you've ever met someone good who didn't demand recognition, right, they deserve it. Afterward, the base wanted to honor her with a ceremony. She declined all recognition. She returned the Dragunov with a small note. "There are no old weapons, only people who stop practicing." Command hung a photo of the radar confirmation reading "Ground Fire Kill" on the control room wall. She continued cleaning rifles in the logistics warehouse quietly. But from that day forward, every new recruit heard the story. There's someone who was mocked, then saved the entire base. She's still here. The story spread beyond the base, becoming legend among military personnel. They called her the Quiet Guardian, someone who had walked away from glory but remained ready when needed. New soldiers would sometimes ask to meet her, but Freya avoided attention. She could be found in the warehouse, methodically maintaining weapons that others had forgotten. "Why do you still do this?" a young recruit asked one day, finding her cleaning a rifle that hadn't been used in months. "Because someone might need it to be perfect," she replied, without looking up. The recruit watched her work. Each movement was precise, practiced, almost meditative. "The shot you made, how did you know you could make it?" "I didn't know. I just knew it needed to be made." "And if you had missed?" Freya finally looked up, her expression serious but not unkind. "Then I would have tried again, and again, until the threat was eliminated or I was..." The recruit left that day with a different understanding of duty. Not the loud, proud kind displayed in ceremonies, but the quiet, constant readiness that asked nothing in return. Months later, when new alarm bells rang and new threats emerged, personnel would instinctively look toward the warehouse, not for weapons, but for the quiet assurance that someone was always ready. Freya would be there, as always, preparing for a moment that might never come. But if it did, she would be ready. The radar confirmation photo remained on the wall, a reminder that heroism doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it simply loads a single round and waits for the moment when precision matters more than recognition. CTA Comment Act 4. Type, "I want to become someone like that." If you believe strength comes from calm precision, Freya doesn't need anyone to remember her name. She only needs to shoot at the right moment, hit the right target, and ensure no one gets hurt because someone wasn't brave enough to stand up. Some people quietly withdraw from glory, but in dusty warehouses, they continue practicing until the day they're needed. Live with integrity, because the person you're mocking today might be the one who makes the radar flash target down. Excellence doesn't demand applause. It simply delivers results when everything depends on precision. In a world full of noise, be the quiet professional who practices in silence and performs when it matters. The most dangerous people are often the quietest ones, not because they seek conflict, but because they're prepared to end it. Remember Freya Holm, the woman who chose responsibility over recognition, precision over praise, and saving lives over saving face. Sometimes the hero is the person everyone forgot was there. True strength doesn't announce itself with fanfare or demand standing ovations. It whispers through consistent preparation, through countless hours of practice when no one is watching, through the discipline to maintain readiness even when appreciation has faded. Freya represents every person who has ever been underestimated, every quiet professional who chooses competence over charisma, every individual who understands that real heroism happens in the moments between headlines. The warehouse where she works isn't just a storage facility. It's a metaphor for the spaces where real preparation happens, where dedication lives without decoration, where the most important work often goes unnoticed until crisis demands excellence. Her story reminds us that the most reliable people aren't always the loudest ones in the room. They're the ones who show up consistently, who practice when others party, who prepare for moments they hope will never come. In your own life, be the person who practices in silence and performs when it matters. Be the one who chooses substance over spectacle, preparation over proclamation, quiet competence over loud confidence. The world needs more people like Freya Holm, people who understand that true service doesn't seek recognition, that real strength doesn't need validation, and that the most important shots are often the ones nobody sees coming.